Windows 11 was finally officially unveiled by Microsoft. In it, there were huge surprises and definitely some digs to Apple. Hi, welcome to Zgadgetreview. On June 24, Microsoft finally unveiled Windows 11 officially. I mean, we know that Windows 11 leaked a few days ago or like a week ago, and people were able to download it and experience it for themselves. But now we have an official launch and all the features and changes that are coming along with the new operating system. So before I get into all the features and all the changes, really quickly, I am personally tired of companies trying to sell us products by pulling on our heartstrings, which is something that definitely Microsoft was doing on this presentation of Windows 11. They went over this very nostalgic view of Windows being your home and a place that you feel comfortable into.
It could be anywhere, but what it really is, it's a place you can always find your way back. It's a space where we always know our way around.
I think it's unnecessary. They also, as most companies have been doing lately, using video call footage of families and friends talking to each other during the pandemic to try to sell us on using Teams, which, again, you're selling me a product. Sell me the product on why it might be useful to me. Don't try to trick me into a sentimental feeling towards your product. I feel personally that's the wrong approach to try to market a product, because at the end of the day, these corporations don't really care. If they did care, they will do a lot more for the world and their customers than they do. Prime example, Amazon. So this really has to stop. Just sell us the product. Don't tell me how I should feel about your product. Just sell it to me and I'll make the decision if it's worth it to me or not based on what you're trying to sell me. Thank you. Let's talk about the changes on Windows 11. The first big change is that they moved the start button to the center of the taskbar or the screen. And I'm sure most of you know that this already happened. Don't be alarmed. You can move it to the left if you want to have it on the left. The reason why they put it on the front is because they say that this is supposed to represent you and Microsoft putting you at the center of Windows, which is why the start button is now at the center, which doesn't really make much sense to me. Why me being at the center of a thing means that the button should be at the center of it. I understand that the reason why they put it at the center of it is because that's the way they're creating the user experience. Everything goes from the center and expands to the sides. So it makes sense to have the start button at the center because that's the experience that you're offering to the user versus you saying that you're putting me at the center of the experience. So that, again, another marketing tactic of saying, hey, you are my center and whatever. So that's going to be the first big change that you see when you open your Windows 11 for the first time. As you can also see on these images, the desktop doesn't have any clutter. So they've made it clean. Usually in the past, if you remember how they will show Windows, is they will show all these icons on the desktop that you could be using from programs that you're working on or things, pictures, things like that. Now they've made it so everything is clean and organized, right? And so they have this new way of bringing everything in the middle, which, yes, it makes it look more organized. It makes the screen look bigger as well by having that in the middle instead of having it shoved to the left. So from the design standpoint, it makes sense. They also have all programs with rounded corners. So as you can see, the browser has rounded corners. And then they also show what they're calling a pane of glass because it's kind of has a clear back. This is going to have pretty much what the search bar with Cortana had before. And what they're calling the things on the pane of glass are widgets. So this is going to be AI power. As you can see on the image, is going to give you the weather, your appointments via calendar. So it's pretty much going to give you a look at things that you might have upcoming or things that you might be interested in quickly at a glance. This also shows that Cortana is completely dead and they are not going to be using it for anything here, and that they're moving to these widgets. And as I said, they're going to be AI powered based on how you use them. The other thing that they talked about that also has been available on Windows 10 for some time now is the ability to go from one device to another. So if you are doing something on your phone, that you could go ahead and transfer that experience directly to your computer. And Windows isn't the first one that does this either, but it's good that they're kind of putting it in the forefront to let people know that it's something that you have available. Something that they also talk about a lot was clean design and center, and that's kind of like the key words that they were focusing a lot on. So Windows is supposed to be clean and centered now than I guess ever before. Other cool thing that I really liked was the multitasking that they have implemented when it comes to using different programs and different browsers. And as you can see here, if you have ever done this on Windows right now, where you can pin different windows side to side in order to do work. I do that a lot sometimes when I'm doing searches or when I'm trying to compare different stories to see what the differences are in stories. But they have created something that's going to be a lot easier, that will allow you to pretty much frame your windows in the best way possible for you. And they're calling this snap layouts because literally it's a layout of your windows, and they're calling it snap because that's something that they used before with snapping windows next to each other. So if you have a big monitor, for example, you could put 4 different windows at once and do work on them at the same time, which makes it a lot easier than try to make windows smaller and try to size them for what you need, which I've also done before. It's kind of a chore that you're holding and making smaller to make the next one fit if you want to compare different images or different things at once. So this will make it a lot easier if you do that kind of work. Windows 11 will remember what you were working on and exactly how you had set up your layout. So if you go away from your computer, you close it, you're done working for the day or whatever it might be, you can always go back and find your layout saved for you. So if you need to get back to what you were doing, you just need to click it and everything comes right back up how you had it. And of course, this is also a way for Microsoft to make Windows into an ecosystem, kind of like what Apple is doing with their own ecosystem, where it will have you have different devices that are connected to Windows in order to take advantage of this. So your phone will have to be connected to Windows, even if it's an Android phone. Your tablet or your laptop will have to be connected to Windows. So this makes it so Microsoft brings you into their ecosystem in order to be able to take advantage of all these features of jumping between devices and not having to set things up again, which is a way of trying to get people from Apple, away from Apple, people who use both devices, Apple and Microsoft, and even people who are jumping into Chromebooks nowadays. Something new for Windows is something that they're calling desktops, which means you can create separate desktops for separate activities. So for example, if you're a content creator who works on images and videos and things like that, you could have a desktop set up just for that. And they have a separate desktop that is just for gaming. If you play games on your computer, and then you don't want to have to worry about closing the wrong window because you were in the middle of something. So this will allow you to change between desktops that are tailored exactly for what that desktop is. Also, if you are in a professional setting and you want to have a work desktop versus your regular family desktop, it's something that I think Windows should have done a long time ago. And as I was saying earlier, they have now added Teams to part of your taskbar, and them saying that now is going to be closer to you and easier for you to use if you use Teams, of course. But this is also another way of to get people to actually use Teams because it's going to be right there. So instead of you having to go and look for a Zoom app to download or the Zoom website or whatever other thing you might use, FaceTime, for example, you can just go directly into your taskbar and click on it and start communicating, which makes sense. We know that Windows sells the Surface line, and a lot of those Surface lines of computers are tablets. And so they are making it so when Windows knows that you're using your computer in tablet mode, it's going to change the layout a little bit. It's not going to be a dramatic change of Windows Vista, but it's going to be a change where there's going to be a little more space between the icons on the taskbar, so you don't do double presses or press things that you don't mean to press. Another thing that they talked about was the use of the pen when you are writing something, that is going to have haptic feedback when you are writing stuff, when you're marking things. So it's going to make the experience more interactive than if you use a regular pen with no feedback. It's going to work with touch, and the way that it's going to work with touch is via the same gestures that you use on a mouse. So if you use gestures on a mouse, I personally don't, so I don't really know the gestures on a mouse, but they are assuming that people do know them. I will say to that, I don't know gestures on a mouse, so I will be one of those people that are like, what are you talking about? According to them, it's something that you won't have to have a learning curve on. Well, I would like to throw that out there, that there might be people that actually will need to learn how to use these gestures to move things around on the tablet. So going back to writing, they added a floating keyboard, and the keyboard sits in the corner of the tablet. I'm assuming you can move it around, but the reason why they have it in the corner is because you can type one-handed, you can swipe on it, and it also takes, of course, speech, so you can dictate. The thing that I thought was funny is that they said that there were voice commands.
Delete that.
And that was the only voice command that they showed. So I don't know if you can call that voice commands. I would call that a voice command. If you're talking about voice commands, plural, right? I would hope that you will show more than just one. So I am kind of skeptical on the voice commands part. Is it cool that you can say it to delete something? Of course. But what else can I do? And Windows 11 also wants to be your game-centric operating system. How are they going to do this? By adding auto HDR if your device supports it. Windows 11 will support auto HDR on selected titles. They said up to 1,000 different games where you literally won't have to do anything and HDR will be applied to the game. This is a feature that has been around on Xbox for a while now, but now they're bringing it to PC. And of course, the attempt at game domination by Xbox wouldn't be complete if it wasn't on PC. And now Game Pass is going to be a central experience for gaming. They announced that you're going to have access to, of course, all the games that are available on Game Pass right now and in the future for a monthly fee. You will also have access to xCloud. Cloud gaming is coming to your PC via web browser as it has been tested before, and experience gaming if your computer isn't powerful enough to give you that experience. And then finally, they ended with a redesign of the Windows Store. If you use Windows under Store, their store, it's kind of a mess to use sometimes, to say it lightly. One of the things that they said is that you're going to be able to find Android apps via the store and not a made-up app for Windows as we see sometimes, but an app that is actually on Android. And so if you have TikTok, Instagram, anything like that, you're going to be able to bring it up on your computer and actually use it as you're able to use it on a phone. Why is this so cool to me, for example? It's because I have an Instagram account for this channel. Having access to Instagram directly on my computer means that I can just do everything while I'm working on the video. Once I'm done posting it on YouTube, I can go ahead and move within the same space that I'm already working in and put a post on Instagram and work on my computer without interrupting what I'm doing. And so I do like that you're going to be able to bring those apps directly to your computer. Of course, another thing why they're doing it is because it keeps you again on the ecosystem. It makes it so if you want to look at TikTok videos, you don't have to pull out your phone and go into the TikTok app and look at the TikTok video. You can just do it on your computer. If you already are on your computer doing something, it means that you don't have to leave Windows ecosystem. You are there. And so that's kind of what I was talking about at the beginning, that they're trying to build an ecosystem that you are in, kind of like what Apple has done. Now, another huge change from Windows 10 to Windows 11 and the Windows Store, and like I said, a little bit of a dig to Apple, is that Microsoft isn't going to force you to use their own commerce system, meaning that you can use your own commerce system. And what they said is you can keep 100% of those profits. If you are a company that's starting, you most likely will need help, and you probably will use Microsoft's commerce system in order to have people pay for your app through their system and all that. They'll take a cut of that as they have before. But as you grow, that means that as your company grows, as your company becomes more profitable, you become more experienced, you can go out and search for your own company to process your payments that might charge you less than what Microsoft does. And if you remember, this was a huge contention point between Apple and Epic, which is why they went to court. It's a great idea and something that hopefully other companies will follow. So there you have it. That was the presentation for Windows 11 from Microsoft. There is some big changes. They're not huge changes. I don't think that this change on Windows is earth-shattering. I think they've added features that were probably lacking on previous versions. I think they've made changes that obviously go with the way people are using computers nowadays. Upgrade is going to be free for you if you are a Windows 10 user, and you're going to be seeing those upgrades rolling out during the holidays and going into 2022. So you will get a prompt, kind of like it happened before with Windows 10. You get a prompt and then you download and, upgrade your Windows experience. What do you think about Windows 11? Is there anything there that you go like, oh my God, I can't believe that they did that? Let me know in the comment section. That's it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.